The first voicemail arrived at 3:17 a.m., but I didn't hear it until the next morning. When I realized it had come from my own number, my blood ran cold. I stared at it for a few seconds, waiting for the confusion to resolve itself. Phones do strange things sometimes. I assumed it was a glitch, some loop in the carrier system, my number calling itself and failing to connect properly. I played it without much thought. At first, there was only static, a soft hiss as the microphone was brushed or partially covered. Then I heard breathing, slow and controlled, close enough that each inhale and exhale registered clearly, steady and deliberate. I stood still, coffee mug halfway to my mouth. I almost deleted it. Then, something in the background caught my attention. There was a faint ticking, uneven, metallic. My kitchen clock does that when the battery is dying. It pauses for a fraction of a second, then ticks twice in quick succession, as if it's trying to make up for lost time. I'd noticed it weeks ago and never replaced the battery. I turned slowly and looked at the clock on the wall. It ticked in the same uneven rhythm, the one I was used to hearing every day. I raised the phone back to my ear and listened again, my eyes fixed on the clock as it matched the sound on the recording exactly. Every hesitation, every double tick. The voicemail ended with a soft click. I wasn't sure what I was expecting to find, but I checked the apartment anyway. The windows were shut, the front door was locked, and the chain hung in place on the inside of the door, the same way I always left it at night. Nothing was out of place. The clock kept ticking. That night, I left my phone on the bedside table, face down, volume turned all the way up. I didn't sleep much. I lay there listening to the building settle, to distant traffic, to the refrigerator cycling on and off. Every small sound felt sharper than usual. At 3:17, the screen lit up. I could see there was another voicemail, and this one was longer. I listened to it without moving. This time, I heard footsteps, slow and careful, muted by carpet. They paced back and forth, stopping and starting, like whoever was recording was deciding where to stand. I recognized the sound of my bedroom floor. Then I heard breathing again, closer than before, uneven, familiar. That was when it clicked. It was the sound of my own breathing, but it was coming from the recording. I held my breath in real life, chest tight, waiting for the sound to stop. It didn't. The breathing on the voicemail continued, steady now, as if whoever was recording had shifted closer. Then I heard a whisper. I couldn't understand the words, just the sound of a voice, low and intimate, like someone leaning down near the bed. Then the click followed. I didn't play it again. I didn't sleep after that. My mind kept circling the same questions over and over, none of them leading anywhere close to an answer. Toward morning, it became clear I wasn't going to sleep, no matter how long I lay there trying. I finally got out of bed and went into the kitchen. That was when I started noticing the small changes that felt wrong. A chair at the table sat slightly pulled out. The bathroom light was on. The shower curtain was still damp, clinging to the side of the tub. Nothing dramatic. Nothing I could point to with certainty, except I knew I hadn't left any of it that way. After that, I went on with my day, not knowing what else to do, trying to act as if everything was normal. The third voicemail came earlier that night, 2:52 a.m. This time, it opened in silence, stretching on long enough that I thought the message might be empty. Then I heard my own voice say my name. It was quiet, controlled. The way you'd say it to someone standing right beside you, low enough that no one else would hear. I dropped the phone. I couldn't sleep in my own bed anymore. Being alone in the apartment felt wrong, like I was staying somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. I started sleeping on a friend's couch, then another. I rotated places so no one would ask questions. I told people it was a plumbing issue, then a work deadline. Eventually, I stopped giving reasons altogether. The voicemails kept coming, always from my number, always recorded inside the apartment. One captured the sound of the front door opening. Another recorded the shower running, water hitting porcelain, steam hissing faintly. One lasted nearly 10 minutes and contained nothing but breathing and the soft creak of furniture, as if someone was sitting very still and waiting. I tried ignoring them. They didn't stop. I tried turning my phone off completely and leaving it in the apartment while I stayed somewhere else. The next voicemail recorded the sound of the power button clicking, followed by static, then breathing. I muted notifications. The voicemails arrived silently anyway, stacked and waiting by morning. I stopped pretending it was accidental. I went back to the apartment during the day and decided to confront it. I placed my phone on the kitchen table, screen facing up, voice recorder open. I pulled out a chair and sat across from it like it was another person. My hands were steady when I spoke. "If you're here," I said, "record this." I waited. Nothing happened. The phone stayed dark. I leaned forward slightly. "I know you're recording," I said. "I want to hear you do it." Still nothing. I stayed there for almost an hour, staring at the phone, listening to the apartment breathe around me. Pipes knocking, a neighbor moving somewhere above, the clock ticking unevenly on the wall. That night, at 3:17 a.m., a new voicemail arrived. It was my voice, sitting at the kitchen table, asking it to record. There was a pause after my words, longer than usual. Then I heard breathing, close enough that I could hear it shift. I stopped asking questions after that. The recordings changed. They began starting earlier in the apartment's routine, before midnight, before I would normally be asleep. One voicemail captured the refrigerator door opening. Another recorded the television turning on, the menu chime echoing in the living room. They began capturing long stretches of silence, minutes at a time with no movement and no breathing. Just the presence of the apartment itself, as if someone were there without needing to do anything at all. I went to my carrier, and they blamed corrupted data. I went to the police, and they asked if I'd been under stress. No one listened to the voicemails all the way through. They stopped once nothing obvious happened. I went back one last time during the day. I unplugged the clock, turned off the power at the breaker, and shut my phone down completely before leaving it on the counter. Without the usual sounds, the apartment felt wrong. Too quiet, as if it were waiting for something. I stood in the middle of the living room for a long time. Nothing happened. I left before dark. That night, another voicemail was recorded at 3:17 a.m. I heard it as soon as it came in. I hadn't been sleeping properly, and every sound pulled my attention back to the phone. It captured footsteps entering the bedroom. The bed creaked as weight settled onto it. Breathing filled the microphone, slow and steady. I heard the sound of my own voice, clear and close. "I'm here." The breathing stopped. The recording continued for a few more seconds, holding only silence. Then the click. I lay there afterward, staring at the ceiling, feeling trapped between listening and not listening, knowing that whatever was happening wasn't slowing down and that there was nothing I could do to make it stop. In the morning, there was one final voicemail waiting. It was short, just one sound. My front door locking from the inside. I haven't listened to any of the voicemails since. but I still keep my phone face down at night.